I wonder why the Magpies didn't hang around. Anyway, hello again folks, hope you're all keeping well, and thanks again for tuning in to another video. Now, before there's any confusion, I'll explain things. This was filmed back in January, when the mornings were still cold, damp and dark. It was usually dark to about 8:30 in the mornings. And I've been sitting on this as it turned out quite a good day. And I was keeping it for, like a special occasion like Christmas or that. But I've filmed a better one since that, so I'll upload it and let you watch it now. As you may have guessed with the title, I'm out after hooded crows again. And this particular farm is just about starting its lambing season, so I was hoping to knock the numbers down before it really got into full swing. So I came down this particular morning and set the little bush chair, pop-up hide, into a thick gorsey hedge overlooking a field that I have shot loads of hooded crows and magpies on over the years, with from their air rifle, the rimfire, and now the 17 Hornet centerfire. And to be honest, I've used the exact same technique for all three firearms. The only difference being I would set the rabbit and the decoy bird out at about 30 to 40 yards with the air rifle, 50 to 60 yards with the rimfire, and 80 to 100 yards with the centerfire. Yes, I know some people can kill crows and rabbits at much greater distances than that with these firearms, but when you increase the distance, you increase the chance of missing, especially on a breezy morning like this, and I'm here to kill crows, not give them a sporting chance. So, why am I trying to kill these vastly intelligent birds? Which they are, let's face it. If a heavily pregnant ewe goes over onto her back and can't get onto her feet again, which happens more often than you think, to defend herself, the crows will generally go for the eyes, the anus or the elder, and I've seen the evidence myself plenty of times, but they can survive the loss of an eye if the farmer finds them and treats them quick enough. Well, the hide is built, the bait and the decoy are sitting out, so the trap is set. All I need to do is load the rifle, which is a CZ 527 Varmint, chambered in 17 Hornet, with 20 grain Vmax hand loads. The scope is a Meopta 4-16 by 44 tactical, which I have a Tacticam 5.0 and FTS unit fitted to film through the scope, and I have a Wildcat Panther moderator up front in 17 caliber. It's barely even light enough to shoot, and a couple of hooded crows have already spotted the setup and landed on a fence line to my far right, but I prefer to shoot them on the ground in this property. Thankfully it's not long before one obliges me. The Tacticam was struggling a wee bit in this low light, but thankfully I still managed to get the shot on camera. Well, that's the first one down, but in the distance I noticed another couple of crows sitting up in a tree, safely observing the whole situation. And before long, one of them dropped down into the bait. But I wasn't quick enough to take advantage of the situation, and it was away. A little annoying, yes, but it was still early yet. Then I quickly realised why it was so nervous. Yep, a big buzzard dropped down into the rabbit and decided to claim it for itself, which seemed to annoy the other crows no end. On the upside though, it was now a target-rich environment. The problem was the crows were all too close to the buzzard, and I didn't want to accidentally shoot a buzzard, as they are fully protected in the UK. There was the odd crow that would land on the outskirts, but they were so wound up they wouldn't sit still enough for a shot. Then one buzzard became two buzzards, though the second buzzard didn't stay for too long. Yet another missed opportunity, and I was starting to get annoyed at this stage. Finally though, a couple of crows settled in the clear. Thank goodness for that, though that buzzard has really made the crows jumpy this morning. The sight of the few birds that I've shot has really got the rest of the local corvids into a bit of a tiz. They're mostly rooks and jackdaws, which don't really do the sheep any harm, but all this racket should pull the hooded crows back in again. And sure enough, once things have settled down again, another hooded crow makes an appearance. But guess who else has appeared? Yep, the buzzard, and it spooks the hooded crow. But either it or another braver bird makes a quick reappearance and pays the price. Well, it might not have been afraid of the buzzards, but it didn't do him much good against a 20 grain Vmax. This bird caught me a little unawares as it came in and hovered overhead a time or two, possibly looking for a safer spot to land. But it wasn't safe enough. Time for a quick reload, methinks. Now, since there seems to be a lack of good quality 17 Hornet brass, I've been using PPU 22 Hornet brass and necking it down to take a 17 caliber bullet. Then you fire form them in your rifle, and these are my fire forming loads. They go into the rifle looking like that, a wee bit of an odd shape. Then when they come out, they're a perfectly formed 17 Hornet shell. Now, I have to admit, it's a little more involved than that, and I had to do a bit of research online to find out how to do things. But to be honest, I think I've only ruined about 4 or 5 cases before I got onto it. The next bird to grace us with its presence wasn't a crow, it was actually a magpie. Now, I usually get a fair bit of stick in the comments about prioritising hooded crows over magpies, but this time I've got a good few hooded crows already on the ground, so this boy's in trouble. Hopefully that'll keep you magpie haters happy for a while. After that last shot, things went really quiet for a while. The birds didn't seem to be interested in landing at all, which isn't really surprising as there was dead crows laying everywhere. So I decided to go down and set the birds up I had shot as decoys to try and get things going again, try to get the birds more interested again. And after a while it seemed to be working, as a lone crow came drifting in from the right and landed. It definitely seemed interested in seeing what all its mates were up to. And now it knows. I bet you that's one party it wished it missed out on. I'd hardly finished patting myself in the back for that last shot when another hooded crow landed. You'd think the sound of the shot would have put it off, but no. Yep, I'd forgot about the safety catch. Thankfully, it didn't go far. And it won't be going much further. Looks like the crows might be gathering up for another offensive. Oh, here we go, hey. Nope, it definitely didn't like what it saw. Well, the morning's moved on quite a bit since that last fleeting opportunity, and it looks like the magpies have returned, in force this time. Now, I know I've already managed to get quite a few hooded crows this morning, and I've already shot one magpie, and I have to say I was very tempted to take another one or two, especially when two of them almost lined up perfect for a double. But I decided to hold my fire, as I spotted another hooded crow, sitting watching everything in front of it from that distant tree again. And so long as I didn't take a shot, there was a good possibility that all the racket the magpies was making would pull that crow down to the ground where I could get a shot at it. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? And just when I thought that was probably it for the day, and I was starting to think about packing the gear up, yeah, another one arrived. Well, after that last one, I did give it a little bit longer, but then finally decided to pull the plug, as I was really starting to look forward to get something to eat.
Ah, dear. Not as chilly this morning, but when you're sitting for a good few hours and no movement, it gets cold. But got here this morning while it was still dark and got set up, and that's maybe why things worked out so well for me. The farmer has lambs out in this ground, and he says he's got more coming out next week, weather permitting, so asked me if I could reduce the number of hooded crows about, as they do have a bad reputation for attacking lambs, though I personally have seen more full-grown sheep attacked, as they get heavily pregnant and can roll over onto their back trying to scratch an itch you can't reach and get stuck there, and the crows will attack them, scratching up their face, pecking their eyes out, going for the tongue, going for the anus, pulling the wool out everywhere. It's not a pretty sight unless the farmer can find her and put her back on her feet again, and sometimes it's too late. So this morning I have a head count, 1, 2, there's one under that, 3, 4, 5, and a magpie, 6, 7, 8. So we've done well. He'll be over the moon about that. And I just used the same dead rabbit for bait, split open, threw the guts out, and set yes, it was that there bird there, I set up as a decoy, which I shot somewhere else, and then set up as usual on the little wire cradle that I make it look as if it's sitting on its own 2 feet. And it worked quite well. I think the first one came down when it was still sort of semi-dark, but I managed to shoot it anyway, and then the day progressed. But I'll get things read up here and contact the farmer and go home for a warm shower and a nice cup of tea. Oh, you can't beat a nice cup of tea after a wee hood of crows in the bag. Cheer, bye folks.
Well folks, that's the end of another one, bit longer this time, and as I said at the start, thanks very much for tuning in and watching another video. It's very much appreciated, as are all the nice comments I get, and I do get some nice comments. And thanks for those who leave not so nice comments, as I suppose there's always the possibility, after watching this, someone who may not agree with what I do may start to understand why I do it. But anyway folks, until next time, take care and look after yourselves, hey.